So another AI. What have I been doing in AI today? So what can you think about with AI? So I've been playing with Claude a lot today, and one thing I found out for those in software, I didn't realise you could do this, and I'm not sure the point of it, but it feels nice. I set up a new project in Claude today for this new piece of work. And before I got going, I created all these sub-agents for different roles: project manager, developer, front-end tester, front-end UX. So I had all these sub-agents talking to each other, and that was nice. And I gave it a really good spec, and I told it, really good things about architecture and to create the whole project infrastructure before it gets going. So it did all that, and it seems to be working a lot better than the last project. But one thing I asked, I said, I don't know why I did it, but it can work in sprints. So for those of you with a software background, it's a weird one, because then, even though it does a sprint in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't really feel like a sprint. To have this whole, here's the 10 things it needs to do for the next sprint, work in one chunk, and at the end of it, do a complete review with the test team and the project manager, which are all AI agents. And it was like feeding back, and the project manager was saying, oh no, I'm going to check this with the test again. And the tester was like, no, that's working because of this. And the project manager goes, well, that's not what was expected. And then it goes, so it's been rejected. And they sort of argued with each other. It's a really good option for using AI, especially something like Claude. I'm assuming the other ones could do it, but so I used Cowork. So that's Claude's Cowork. I said, I'm creating up a project. I've got all these docs. Can you have a look at these docs? Give me a summary of what you think. And then these are the roles I want people to have in the project. And these are the rules I want. So create all these guidelines. And I said, ask me any questions on it. And it asked me about 30 questions about which tech it wants me to use and why, things it didn't understand. It asked me about roles and responsibilities and where they kick in for different agents. And it really sort of hammered it home and wrote this like spec and architecture doc and said to me, if you want to add stuff to the project, you have to add it into sprints. And then we're working one sprint at a time. And yeah, I was just blown away by the structure it created. And then in the other Claude project I'm doing, where it was more of a learning curve to get it going, so I'm sort of having to backfill lots of this, which is all right. After getting the architecture right, it's quite interesting now, because I did some changes to what I'm calling the fragments within the project. And it's got this rule-based system to say you must create a fragment using this structure and this sort of method. And again, I asked it to create a new fragment to do something, and it did it. And I said, if you check that against the rules, and it went, oh, I've broken rule 004. Let me go and amend that. And yeah, again, I just love this concept of, this agentic sort of working. So, in terms of a short video, top tips for Claude. When you have a product, if you've got the Claude Max account, use Cowork. Give it a directory, a folder with any docs you have on your new project. Tell it to read them and give you an assessment. Then tell it your structure you want, so roles, responsibilities, architecture, anything you think is a good idea, but get it to question you on it. And then say to it, can you set up the infrastructure, and just keep asking me questions until you feel like you know everything you need to do about what's in the project and what we haven't talked about. That's my top tip. Projects, sprints, sub-agents, Cowork. Done.